to our part of that big old Dragon Pelago randomizer we had been doing since this past Thursday. Now, a fair bit has happened here in Portrait of Ruins since then. I don't recall that we had the winged boots, we only had the mercury boots before, so we've got the winged boots that are even faster and actually seem like they let me jump a little higher, which I never remembered being a thing. We've upgraded from the Alucard sword, which is technically stronger, to the royal sword because it's got a better angle of attack. We have so many weapons piled up, though. If I really wanted to use literally anything I could possibly want, I have it at this point. Got a lot of secondary weapons. Most importantly, though, we picked up the skill cube, the acrobat cube, push cube, basically everything except the actually necessary ones normally. Because we still don't have swapping or stay or any of the other options for getting Charlotte to do things other than just step in and cast a spell. Now, importantly for Charlotte, though, we did get Sanctuary, which cures all statuses, which actually has a mechanical need in this game, in that it can cure vampirism. Now, ordinarily, you would not be doing this for quite a while, but I ended up doing it while I was away because I wasn't sure if a painting I needed for a check that somebody had hinted out was in there or not. But I'll explain what it's necessary for right quick before we start hopping into paintings to try to do what I actually need to do in order to go get that check. So these two were under the control of the current Lord of the Castle Bronner. They were both turned into vampires. You have to have Charlotte cast Sanctuary during the fight with these two to cure them of their vampirism, or you get the bad ending immediately. That's the short version. Once you've dealt with these two, not only do you gain access to a fight where you can unlock the full power of the Vampire Killer, which we won't be doing right now, probably won't be doing that at all today, you gain access to the 4 Bronner portraits, which are how you gain access to the fight against Bronner himself. Now, since I've got these randomized, this is where half of our easier paintings were. Is this painting here and the one on its opposite side over here, both are supposed to be in your first set of paintings. Obviously they weren't in this case, but I'm looking for City of Haze, and because of the flames, I'm not 100% sure if that's City of Haze or if that's the other one. This, I believe, is the Nest of Evil portrait, so we don't need to worry about that. There's only 2 places City of Haze could be. It's either behind that flame that I'm having trouble seeing through properly, or it's down there in the bottom left corner, which is the Nest of Evil location, which I have to beat a specific amount of portraits to gain access to. So what we're going to be doing today is beating as many portraits as I can. Considering the mobility I have and the power I have, we should be able to do almost every portrait. Keyword to that being almost, because there's a couple we can't do both with push and with skill. We need specific things to get through a few of them, which are going to cause a problem. But let's just get what we can do done and move on from there. Because we only need, I think, 1 more portrait beaten in order to open Nest of Evil with these settings that I ended up with. Is we completed this painting. We completed Nation of Fools. Is we went and killed Legion. So all I need to do is be able to get to and finish any of the other portraits. Now, I believe it was the desert that's over here, which is one we should be able to complete, with one mild caveat that we'll get to when we get in there and get to the problem. I have cleared a good chunk of some of the portraits. Obviously, Sandy Grave here I did not go into at all. And we're going to be kind of just jetting through. because this is a very early portrait, and we are way too strong for it. So we'll just be kind of trucking. Ta-da! So you actually access the main meat of the other version of this area by killing this and going down. In this version, there's just an extra area under here. So we'll quickly pop in here and go get the check that's down there. Reminder, since this is in Archipelago, the tracker is at the bottom of the screen for y'all, all in the bottom right there. So if you want to know what we're picking up, it's there, but I'll also be calling it out as usual. In this case, it was just a bunch of Deku Seeds, which are just ammo for the Slingshot and Ocarina of Time. And now it's laser targeting for Banshees. That's not too bad. That's an upgrade for StarCraft 2 Banshees, which should be useful. I don't remember what that upgrade does. But hey, an upgrade's an upgrade, right? Right. Now, I know there's something that somebody had hinted out in here. I believe it's in the one room I really don't like as well, but we'll worry about that when we get there. Because there's one room in here that's kind of a nightmare. The rest of the place, absolute joke. No real issues in 90% of this place. There's just one room that's kind of a ball ache. Oh, those skeletons, by the way, the red ones, they only die under specific circumstances. They otherwise will just get back up. So I'm really banking on nothing I need being a drop from them. Because I believe it's specifically you have to hit them with holy damage of some kind. Which is only from a handful of sources. And I don't think I have most of them right now. Oh, I got my own Malak, so that's good. If I wanted to use him. And one of Mori's strawberries for Celeste, that's useful, because the strawberries are the unlock condition for a lot of things in Celeste. Hey, look, there's Y-Hander. Used that for a little bit before I ended up picking up the Royal Sword from the shop. I did do a handful of the more annoying quests, like the get money to 777 quest and things like that off camera as well. Just for people's bookkeeping purposes, if they are so inclined. So more than likely, we'll just do as many paintings as we can, hopefully gain the ability to defeat Dracula and just take him out and be done with it. Because I know people have been really in need of items to make progress, so I'm assuming some of them have to be in my world somewhere. So the smart thing is, obviously, to just try to go for a finish to try to break everybody else loose. This is the room that's kind of a pain. Because there's constantly boulders rolling down. This version of this room isn't that bad. They hurt a lot, but they're not terrible. Yeah, there we go, the laser cutter fragment. That was the thing that was hinted out. I did remember what room it was in correctly, much to my perpetual regret. Now, this bit in here is the other annoying thing about this place, because there's an item all the way back here, and if you don't have frog form, which you won't, under any normal circumstances, you have to slide through all of this and just kind of wedge your way up through the bit up here. It's just kind of annoying. If that tells you the scale of how not difficult this place is, that's the worst part of this painting, is just getting through that. Now, there's an extra layer to the boulder problem, though, I will say, and that is when you normally are coming through here, if I remember right, that boulder's an instant kill, because you have significantly less health when you're normally coming through here. So bear that in mind. When anybody's like, wow, that wasn't so bad, you just tanked a boulder like a champ. It's like, yeah, because I have like 500 hit points. And it does 139. I forget if it's percentage damage or if it would have killed me. if I had less health. I genuinely cannot remember because the various games blur together as far as their rules with that go at this point. Oh, right! There's this funny as well. So there's just lasers, you know, ancient Egyptian laser technology, as you do. But as you saw there, they're easy to foil. Just don't stand in bad. That's the general safe answer in almost every game ever. Don't stand in bad. If thing bad for you, don't touch. It's very simple. Yeah, we're gonna be sending out a flood of checks today, one way or the other, because the paintings I didn't already go through, obviously, are going to have a lot of items, and there's still items left in most of the paintings I went into as well. We just need to cross back. Well, actually, no, it'd be better if I go back. Because this is another one of those places where the layout's slightly annoying with our mobility. Ordinarily, this would be much more of a pain, because you have to go through the front door when you come here the first time, because you don't even have double jump by this point. Let alone any kind of higher jumping, or in our case, like the super jumps we have from the Griffin Wing. So you have to, like, work around this pile of heads here in order to get that item up there, and you gotta make sure to get it before you get the one down here. It's a whole thing. As it stands with what we have, no, I'm still better off going up top first. Is the ordinary methodology is you go up that middle shaft to get up top the first time through, I do believe. And I was debating whether I should just high jump my way up through that middle section again, or if I wanted to go around. Oh, that's a mild issue. That's one you can only push from the other side. And I don't even know if the push cube is what you need for that, because there's a strength boost and push cube, and they don't do the same things. Like, you can't do everything with both of them. We'll go ahead and push this lamp pedestal down, and that opens this door, which allows us a different way to get to the other side of where that was. Thankfully, there's multiple ways through most of these areas, so it's not a major ordeal, it's just inconvenient. Some money for Luigi's mansion. All the money for Luigi. And as you can see, this place has a lot of save points in it because it's an early dungeon. Like, this, I believe, is the second painting you're supposed to go in? It's either second or third. City of Haze is first. Then it's either this one or no, not Dark Academy, the other one, Forest of Doom. I keep thinking of the browner version of Forest of Doom is the problem. And then it's Nation of Fools, I think. And then you do the browner portraits in... Specifically, I think you have the dark versions of the first two, and then you gain access to the other ones. Like, ordinarily 13th Street would be one of your first two choices. Then the dark version of this one would be the one on the right. And then Dark Academy and Burnt Paradise are your other options. Obviously, you don't have to do them in exactly that order. Oh, we got a sharp knife for Overcooked. Wait, does that mean they couldn't cut food for the recipes until now? Oh no. 'Cause I don't know how the rando for Overcooked works at all. That's one that I was already very scared of when it got brought up as a choice somebody made. The boss is up top. I should just do the boss, I think. Now, The boss is the thing that there's going to be a wrinkle with that might make this go horribly awry. So I'm going to save. Because it's going to depend very heavily on whether I can just overwhelm this fight fast before the thing that could... Oh, I don't have the key. Never mind. We can't do that fight right now. So I'll just explain the potential problem. That boss fight can charm Johnathon, and then you just lose access to Johnathon until you can break him out of it. Considering we can't switch, I don't know what would happen. I don't know if I just lose or what in that scenario. That was a trap. There's a hiccup trap for Celeste, being played by Mori the Gremlin. I also sent energy to Terra playing Ape Escape 3. There's a lot of things that have been popping up, and I know I haven't been calling them all out. I'm just calling major items for the most part when there's big piles coming through like this. Because otherwise, I will be just saying nothing but a constant string of items, and I don't think most of us would understand what any of them are anyway. Oh, that was a huge rupee right there at the end. Hey, look at this. There's 4 warps in this place. Whereas most other portraits in the game only have the beginning and the ending warp, really. I think City of Haze has 3. I think there's one at the beginning, one in the middle, and one at the end, where the boss is. Really big cheese here wants me dead. Get out of here. No one loves you. Ow. You know, I deserve that for saying that, I suppose. I also could have just destroyed it, but it was more fun to let it chase me. Yeah, we just have a bit of cleanup over here on the right to do, and then we have to wait for the boss in order to be able to get the last stuff in there. And there's Brunner and the daughters. Since we've done everything out of sequence here, that scene would have made no sense either way. Which, there's a whole thing there where Bronner considers them actually his daughters. It's complicated. They are not, in fact, his children. And I'll just leave it at that. Worm sign. There's a check over here. Which was just a traveler's cloak. So funny thing, you'll notice there's not a spot on the map over here. I forget if this kills you or not, and I'm not gonna test that right now. For 2 reasons. One, because it will be inconvenient in that I haven't saved in a chunk of that place, so I would lose the map completion over there to begin with. And 2, since I've got Deathlink on, it would end up killing anyone who's currently playing that also has Deathlink on. And I'm not going to go out of my way to inconvenience everyone unless it's funny. And in that particular case, it really wouldn't be very funny. But since we couldn't complete that painting because you have to beat the boss of the painting to count it as complete, that one's still not going to get us into Nest of Evil. This, I think, was 13th Street, which I think we still can't do. But I'm going to check. I don't remember how you stop the train. That's the problem. I don't remember if it's a strength thing, I know it's not time stop because I tested that. I'm going to try using push cube. Because you do have the push animation. Nope, we're not strong enough. Okay. We'll have to come back when we have the strength glove then. I was pretty confident that was the case, but I genuinely wasn't certain. Because I want to say by the time you go to 13th Street, you have what you need to stop that train. So it just never is an issue unless you're doing this randomized. So anyway, let's just go hit up the portraits that are over in here, since we've got some easy ones in here. In fact, actually, this is Dark Academy and this is Forest of Doom, so literally they're mirrors on either side. Now, this one I did clean out a chunk of, as you can see. But there's a problem with getting through Forest of Doom. And I'm not actually gonna worry about showing you in detail, but understand that in there's a tombstone you can't move without more strength. And pushing it as a team is not the answer. So that's dead in the water. Now, I've also run through the vast majority of Dark Academy here. Dark Academy we can complete, technically. Assuming I have the key. Oh, you know, actually, I know what's in the Nest of Evil location. That has to be... Oh, that's a problem then, actually. The one that's in the position right next to Forest of Doom has to be City of Haze. Because I just realized the only portrait missing was Burnt Paradise, and that's not what Burnt Paradise looks like. So yeah, that has to be City of Haze. Oh, that presents a problem then. If I can't win this fight or I don't have the key for this fight, we might actually be stuck still. And it's only just clicked now. So we've got Forgotten City, we've got Circus Arena, we've got Cavern, we've got Street Key, and we've got Burnt Paradise. Unless, you know, I might actually be able to do 13th Street, and I may just be being stupid. I just had something click in my brain that may solve that problem. I don't remember what to do about the Toilet Ghost. There's actually, I believe, a whole side quest dedicated to Toilet Ghost, and I don't remember what to do with him. Oh, guess I'm leaving. I'm gonna go find out if my thought process is right before I forget. Because I just had a thought pop to brain that I should have thought of a long time ago, because it makes perfect sense in the logic of what items I've been given in what order. And I don't know why I didn't try this. Is thinking it... I think I'm remembering the solution to the train problem wrong. And there's actually a very obvious, simple solution to it. And that's probably why I never remembered this being a problem. Because here's the thing. Why? Oh, no. The train is high enough. Never mind. I was gonna say, why stop the train when you can just avoid it? But, that doesn't work. So, no, I am actually SOL on that idea, I guess. So, I think then it does need push and strength to be able to stop it.
Welcome to your doom.
We're not really doomed, just very inconvenienced. Okay, so I wasted time coming back here. I should have stuck with what my memory was telling me to begin with instead of questioning it. But at the same time, if I was wrong and didn't question it, it would have been a whole to-do in and of itself. That means I have to be able to finish that portrait then, right? It's either that or Portrait of Ruin is actually still stuck and needs another key. Which, thinking about it, I know I don't have the key I need. Because we have Burnt Paradise, we've got Nest of Evil, we've got Forgotten City, 13th Street, Great Stairway, Nation of Fools. Where even is Forgotten City? Is Forgotten City part of the castle? No, that wouldn't make sense. Howdy, Natra. I'm just trying to piece together what I'm actually able to do here right now. And I'm wondering if this key's just mislabeled. I cannot think of an area actually called Forgotten City in this game. I think I do have to go fight that particular boss. I think that's my only option. So I'm pretty confident I can't just go fight Dracula right now. Unless the logic's expecting me to do the... Actually, why does this only have 3 chains? That's a whole other good question. There should be 4 chains on that. Because all 4 paintings are still active. But the randomizer might only have given me the need of doing 3 portraits to get to Bronner. Not sure. Because I had that set to random, so I genuinely don't know what it gave me. Let's see if we can get into the boss door. If we can't get in this boss door, we're in trouble. Because that's going to mean I'm going to need to probably ask for a hint. And pray that whomever has the thing I need can get to it. But one way or the other, we're potentially gonna have an awkward split here because I'm running out of things I can do. And it's not even a matter of things I can do without it being difficult or things I can do without glitching or anything. It's literally those are doors that are impassable. So, pretty sure I grabbed this already. Yeah. I have a feeling it's going to tell me I can't open that door. Yep, Academy key. Son of a bitch. What do you... There's something missing then. There's something that it expects me to have that I don't have. Is the fact that we have the key for 13th Street either means somebody did something out of logic to get it, or I didn't get something I was supposed to from the same sphere from somebody else. This is where it's not making... Oh wait, Forgotten City I think is the name of the place next to us right now, the dark side of the Sandy Grave, now that I think about it. So we have a key for a place I can't even get into unless I can get that tombstone out of the way, which I might be forgetting what the solution to the tombstone is, and that might be the problem. Let me go ahead and hint Academy key, because I've not asked for any hints yet. Convergence of the Covenant and Dragon Dispatchers, Grim Dawn. Okay, we're not seeing that for a bit. So pretty sure Convergence of the Covenant is pretty far out there in Grim Dawn. Okay. That means this side's dead, which also means getting into Nest of Evil isn't gonna happen anytime soon, which is okay. Because if I never have to go into Nest of Evil, I'm not exactly upset about that. But that very heavily implies to me that I am being stupid. And that I'm not understanding something, or I've forgotten how something works. And we can actually get through this painting. Because all the current logic implications indicate that I should be able to get to the rest of this. But I'll explain why I was having a problem when we get over there. I just gotta go the right way around because this place is kind of annoying to navigate. Because it's a lot of thin walls that are just kind of there. Too high. Because if we take a moment to look at this map, you'll notice it loops in on itself in this segment that we're in here. And you would think there'd be a door underneath where that warp room is just because of logic of the lay of this building making sense. But there isn't any. You have to go all the way up and around through this room on the bottom right to get to here. There's going to be a problem with getting through this door to the right for those that are like, why don't we just go that way? You'll understand when we get over there why that doesn't work. It's a whole thing. And maybe there's a way for me to cheese that as well. That might be what it's expecting me to do. But I find it much more likely that there's just a particular pattern of things that have happened that does not match up with what it intended. Yeah, see, because throwing things at that bell doesn't work. That bell is how this door opens. Is you have to go around underneath normally in order to be able to get to that bell to ring it, to get back and forth under any other circumstances. So unless any of my other abilities let me hit that, which I don't think is the case. Like, I don't think even one of the whips with the crazy extendo ability would be able to reach that. Yeah, no, that's not far enough either. And I don't have Nebula, do I? No. Nebula, I think, is the longest weapon in the game, so that would have been a possible answer. But I don't have it, which Nebula may exist somewhere in my own world, and I might be able to make use of that to open that? But that's going to involve farming drops if it isn't in someone else's world. My plan was to spend the majority of today in Portrait of Ruin, but it's looking like that plan might not work. Yeah, and you'll notice, with both of them pushing, this tombstone's not going anywhere. And if I come around to this side, with both of them pushing, it similarly is not going anywhere. So that's the problem, is you ordinarily push this tombstone out of the way. By the time you get here, you should have the capacity to do so, but we obviously don't, thanks to the randomizer. So that leaves us with a little bit of a bother. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to double check the naming convention here. Because I don't remember exactly what this relic's called that does what I need. Yeah, the Strength Glove is ordinarily in Sandy Grave. Because that's... you ordinarily get the Strength Glove and then push that block you saw me looking at out of the way. And then you go here. And by the time you get to this tombstone, you have the Strength Glove, so you just shove that on out of the way and you move on with your life. Okay, it's in Jabu Jabu in Winter's Ocarina of Time. Considering I'm pretty confident Winter has his dungeons randomized and everything, good question as to whether that's reasonable to get to or not. Under normal circumstances, that would be a very easy item to get, because it's just a crate in Jabu Jabu, but, question mark. Yeah, because none of the other relics really matter for us. We do need the change cube in order to get into City of Haze further, in order to get past the drill. Because you need to have one character activate the switch to move the cart, and the other one has to stay in the cart. So you specifically need change cube for that, because if you make them wait in there, they'll just teleport back to you when they go off screen. So that doesn't work. Yeah, that's just where we're at right now. I'm not going to worry about going for change cube or call cube, because I need to get through here in order to get to the only place where I need change cube. So it's just not worth looking for it. It's a good thing what Argo hinted for that needed City of Haze is not required, because he ain't seeing it for a bit. This is awkward. Trying to think, is there anything clever I can do or anything extra I could try to sidestep to do in the meanwhile with this? Before I go to the idea of pinging Winter and being like, hey, can you get this? Since he's currently actively playing StarCraft, he might have even seen the hint pop up. Just let me double check to make sure that Nest of Evil isn't just open. As in the passageway over here. Because I don't think I've done anything that counts as 2 portraits having been completed. But we'll know real quick, because there'll be an opening down here. Nope. Okay, that's what I figured. There really wasn't a world in which that was going to be open, but I had to try the silly answer. Out of the quests I have left, what do any of them do? I need to go to City of Haze to do this, and it's just a chesto berry, so that doesn't matter. This is a room in the desert we were just in, but it's just for a guided pellet for Ape Escape, so there's no point in doing that. Dodo, that's a cologne for tactics, which can be pretty good to have, but I don't remember where the Dodo is, and we might not have the area for that. Glasses we don't have. Javelin I haven't seen show up yet. Ghoul King I don't think I can get at. And yeah, there you go. There's your confirmation. You must clear 2 portraits. Into 50 for an MP max up. S-Rank Hunter's Undead Killer. Which Undead Killer I think is one of the very small number of weapons that can kill the red enemies. This is the only one that really matters, I think. Is getting Mirror Temple A, Search Key 2 for Celeste. Is the rest of these... Oh no, Kojiro might matter for Winter. Depending on if those quests are randomized, which they probably are. Yeah, that's the only other thing that has any significant note. I need a New York steak, which is just gonna be a bit of a random crapshoot. Both of them are random crapshoot to get, unfortunately. Because I've not seen anything drop a longsword. Now, I wouldn't figure a longsword would be something that's out in the pool, at least, so we've got that going for us in that regard. The New York steak might be out in the pool, though, since we did get a beehive earlier. Let me go ahead and grab this and send that in the chat there. There we go. With a bit of luck, that'll be something that's doable quickly, and we'll be able to get back to business fast. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna kind of stall for a little bit, see if there's a response, and then if not, we'll just go to Final Fantasy Tactics for potentially the remainder of today, which was not the plan, but that's fine. And also, oh no, that's mind, not luck. No, never mind. Do I have anything that increases my luck? I didn't before, but that doesn't mean I didn't get something. No, we still don't have anything that increases my luck. Okay. Because the idea would have been to boost my luck to try to get some of the drops from the enemies to see if any of those would be useful. So yeah, that puts us in a bit of a bind. I'd be lying if I said that I don't partially regret setting myself to need these boss keys, but at the same time, this would have been so over and done with so quickly as far as this game goes if I didn't. Because trust me when I say I would be able to complete... thinking... half the portraits of the game with basically nothing if I didn't have boss keys active. Which being able to do half the portraits of the game would have opened up the other half of the portraits. So I would have the game wide open already. Thanks to the fact that we started with the high jump. This is the path to Dracula, by the way. There's a door up at the top, though, that may or may not let me through. This is my Hail Mary, basically, is walking up here and seeing if it'll let me in. These aren't going to send because I've already picked them up. I just died a stupid death after having gone up here and then didn't end up actually coming back up here and cleaning this up. So I'm just grabbing these again just to clean that up, basically. Yep, it's not open. I was pretty sure it wouldn't be. Because I'm pretty sure my requirement for getting to Dracula is... I think actually all of my paintings, which does actually mean I would need to get through Nest of Evil. which that's going to be an issue in and of itself. So ironically enough, I think at the end of the day, we've actually accomplished absolutely nothing by booting up Portrait of Ruin today. Let me check that passage over there. This is the wrong door. So I forget if that passage is the one that I can't get through, or if that's just the one I just keep avoiding going through, because I think it's one I can't go through. It could genuinely go either way on that one. I could have went around the other side, but this is just as fast. I also completely forget what time stop does in this game. Okay, yeah, this is the breakable wall. Which I forget how you break walls in this one. I think you can only break it from the other side, based on the cracking. And the other side is where that gear thing is. I think I genuinely skipped this hallway like every time I've played this. Yep, winter's going in, so might be happening, might be doable. Fingers crossed. Since I already see him loading up, I'll go ahead and continue to hang about in here in the hopes that good news happens. Is there anything I can do to stall for time? Oh yeah, we can't go in this one, by the way, because we don't have Stella's locket. For some reason, the portrait in this position always needs Stella's locket, whether it actually needs it or not. This is why we can't do Forgotten City. I knew I was forgetting to explain something, and it was that. Which I could also go hint for Stella's locket as well. Yeah, I probably have enough points too. Let me go ahead and just do it. And that's stuck in a different Ocarina of Time. That's over in Argo's Ocarina of Time. Spirit Temple Child Bridge. That might be... Oh. Based on the hint I just saw Winter ask for, I have concerns about whether I'm getting what I'm looking for. Because I'm pretty sure that bottle with Ruto's letter is needed in order to get to Jabu Jabu normally. So if he needs that to get there and that isn't happening right now, that means what I'm looking for ain't happening right now either. I mean, worst case, we at least managed to still spend like an hour in here, and we did collect a bunch of things. 90% of them didn't matter, but we collected a bunch of things. We did stuff. We pushed buttons. Just, might have been buttons that lead to nowhere. I'm just keeping half an eye on the group chat to see if there's like a nah man I can't do that at inbound. The wide room up here is the boss room, right? Ow. I went one too low. Yeah, this is the boss room. So I've apparently been next to that door on the other side of the boss room. Why didn't I go in there? Why didn't I get whatever was in there? out the boys. I need to go all the way down to the bottom and go around. That's the elevator room. Why didn't I go get something in the elevator room? That doesn't make sense. I can't think of a world in which I wouldn't just have finished cleaning up the elevator room. There must be something that went wrong. Something in the way, something about my brain being stupid. There's options. Like, if I'd known there was gonna be this many problems still left, which you would think I would have checked when I was running around collecting a few things, I would have just not collected the few things I did the other night. Actually, I think I literally collected these things last night. So I was like, oh yeah, it's not gonna be that interesting to watch me go fetch all this junk. I'll go ahead and just fetch it and be done with it. And then we can just go on a tear through everything tomorrow. And boy, was I wrong. As is tradition. Yeah, no, I just didn't grab whatever this is. Okay. Yoshi egg for Toadette. Okay. I don't really know why that's considered progression, but okay, game. Is that, I believe, is just Toadette's special item for Double Dash, so that's not really big? But I guess every character's items are probably progression in that because of the fact that you can use, like, anybody. So it has to leave that open, I guess. Not really sure. Oh, and this was just a warp room I didn't grab. Okay, that's why I didn't go in there. Oh. There's the lower half of that bottom section down there, but there's no items in there, I don't think. I don't believe I missed any items in Nation of Fools, because... if we go to the maps... yeah, the only places I didn't... oh, there's one room in Nation of Fools I didn't go in. There might be an item in there. I think that's the early save room in there. So I want to say there's a save room on the right side and a warp room on the left. So I don't think that actually is going to be anything for us. So that's a shame. Unless there's genuinely something in that top left corner or the bottom middle of those two rooms I haven't done a specific thing in. I know for a fact there's nothing in that vertical tunnel over there on the right. Over here, that's the map I just showed y'all with the tombstone that I can't get past, so that's a dead end. This is the one where we can't open the boss door, though there might be something in that double block room up at the top that might be useful, and then we're back to the castle. Because this is 13th Street, which we can't even begin to access right now. Yeah, Strength Glove would do the most for us, that's why I was bothering to ping for that one. I'm mostly just waiting to see what the response is. Whether it's a can't be done or it'll have to be a while. But based on the hint, I would assume it's a can't be done until someone else does something scenario. It'd be very funny if it's actually trapped behind something of mine that I would need to go get. Though that would mean a big problem, because that would mean I would need one of the other items that I hinted for instead. It feels like the logic's designed for me to have gotten Stella's locket, though, considering I have the key for the boss to the place where Stella's locket would take me to. I guess I could technically try to do the true vampire killer check. That fight's rough, though, with what I have. Like, you wouldn't think any fights would be difficult at this point for me, considering how ridiculously geared we are, but my armor's not actually that good in the grand scheme of the armor available. And our shoes are mobility shoes. They're not great. The combat boots are better for that, but considering the stat difference there, I'd be better served keeping the higher speed. Oh yeah, there's a bunch of dialogues that'll happen. Is the ghost wind there knows about the previous owner of the whip and a lot of other things connected to that situation. Grab one more foie gras. Oh, I could have grabbed feather gear. So that does knock you back way further when you get hit. It is better defense.
Thank you.
I just wanted to make sure I had absolutely every healing item I could get my grubby hands on before we try this. The good news is I don't trigger Deathlink, I believe, if I lose this fight, because it's not technically going to kill me. But it does also mean then that any items you use during this fight stay used. It's gonna be a whole thing. I get the feeling there's a whole issue because still typing. And yeah, only Johnathon can go into this fight. Charlotte cannot participate, since this is a battle of wills, essentially, to unlock the true power of the vampire killer. Because we have to fight Richter. He's gonna do all his usual things, including hitting really hard. Ordinarily, I would have really liked to have double jump for this to dodge him better. Ow. He is taking 203 damage every time he hits us with the whip is a big problem. Yep, took 2 of those. I need to use a different sub-weapon. The cross does not work for shit against him, as you might imagine. The Bible probably won't either. Walk a knife? Walk a knife. Oh, he's got me pinned in here, I think. There we go, I managed to get out. No, that's not doing much either. If I remember right, he actually is, like, highly resistant to anything that isn't just a direct physical attack with a melee weapon. No, 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 no. You aren't Grand Crossing me. Absolutely fucking not. Song of Time is also being hinted for now. That's worrying. I get the feeling that all of the avenues are blocked, which is not ideal. You know, let's change tact here a little bit. Give me a little more reach. Ooh, I looked away for a second and suddenly he was next to me. That was concerning. Nope. Ow. Every time, that really stings. Look how much damage we've taken doing this fight, by the way. All because the vampire killer really hurts. Shocking concept, legendary magical whip designed for killing vampires really fucking hurts. Ow. Like, half of your best hope for this fight is that he chooses to use the sub-weapons a lot. Because the vampire killer hits so damn hard. Ah, he went for the whip again. Mr. Carbonara. I think... no, Beehives heal me too. Okay. Oh, now he's using the holy water. I think if you time it right, you can bait him into trying to whip in the air and he'll miss as well. But I do not have the timing for that, for obvious reasons. I think we're SOL. I think if I get hit again, it's over. And the ads have just kicked in, so I'm not gonna try to finish this fight until after the ads. So Winter gave me the answer about the situation, and oh boy, is it a thing. Yep, as is tradition for randomizers, getting in is the problem. Is Song of Time stuck over in Shadow the Hedgehog, apparently. He can't get into the trial in Ganon's castle that apparently Rudo's letter got dumped in. Because he can't get in Ganon's castle at all to begin with. It's a whole slew of problems, basically. Portrait of Ruin is SOL. For question mark amount of time, is what this means. So we'll try to finish this fight, and then we'll go ahead and hop to Final Fantasy Tactics for the remainder of the stream, is what that means. And then we'll come back to Portrait whenever these checks manage to happen. What's that phrase again? Oh, right. I hate being right. But once you do these randomizers enough, or in the case of, like, understanding OOT logic, you see people do them enough, you get the idea of how the lay of the land's gonna be. And it just... those seeds could be brutal. Those seeds could be real nasty. That's a hefty desync between my two different ad timers, so I'm gonna go ahead and wait until I see the other one be done before I do the whole resuming bit here. Because there was a full minute and a half difference between the two timers that are literally on the same dashboard this time. And I never know which one to believe. Because I've had people say they've come back from ads at such a wide variety of times in between the two. So I don't know what to do with that still. It's a whole thing. Just like all the rest of this. But people should be coming back now, presumably. So, welcome back from the ads. We are still in the fight. We will be leaving Portrait of Ruin as soon as we win or lose this fight, because we cannot do anything anymore. I do not have anything that'll let me eat the moldy bread or the rotten durian, so that's dead in the water. I have all this MP that I can't do anything with, because it doesn't do any meaningful damage to Richter. My big hope is that he's almost down, and what do you know, he isn't. I swung through him. Ow, he went for a double. Yep, we lose. So yeah, every time you lose that, you just get kicked out of that sequence, but you'll notice all the items are gone. So we're gonna go ahead and just pretend I died there and reset. But like I said, we'll be going ahead and hopping over to tactics at this point because there's nothing else we can do here in Portrait of Ruin in practical terms. There might be like a item sitting somewhere, but it's not worth going and hunting down that one item under the current circumstances. If somebody ends up needing it, they'll let me know that they need it. Yeah, you say that stream info has been updated properly there, Twitch, but let me tell you, based on what you've put right in front of my face, I can tell you that it hasn't been. There we go. Now it's been flipped correctly category-wise. I need to flip the audio and then flip the video for y'all, and we'll be headed off on our other adventure. There we go. Suddenly Final Fantasy Tactics is on screen. Now, a bit happened since the last time I showed you all what I was doing here. As you may remember, we were only like level 10 and all that before. You'll note that I'm level 20 now, and we got samurais. Now, I have a lot of samurais in the party right now,